Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to sew a patch onto a jacket with our embroidery machine. But first of all, if you're new here, hello, my name is Kelly. On this channel, we do a lot of sewing and embroidery. I have a bunch of different machines. I've got an industrial machine, a regular sewing machine, a serger, a new cover stitch, which is exciting, and then a 6-needle brother machine. And that's what we're going to use today. So if any of that kind of stuff interests you, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. I try to upload pretty regularly these days, but anyway, so here's the story with this jacket. A friend of mine, I think I've mentioned before that most of my business is local friends of friends, that kind of thing. So daily I get texts, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? Answer is always yes. Yes, I can. I absolutely can. So this friend, and this is an actual friend, this is not a friend of a friend, this is a friend. So she texted me and she said this jacket it was embroidered onto the jacket. It had her first and last name. Well, she recently got divorced and she changed back to her maiden name. So she didn't want her married name on the jacket. So she said, this is her daughter's lacrosse team. So she sent me a picture and she said, what's the easiest way to remove these stitches? And I said, by sending it to me. That's how you do that. You send it to me and I do that for you. So about 10 minutes later, she texts me back and she says, too late. And so she, of course, had put a hole in it. And I said, okay, well now you got to send it to me anyway, and I'll just put a patch on it. So I had to remove her first name too, because if I didn't, then the patch wasn't going to cover up the hole. Like it would have said her first name twice. So I don't know if you can tell, but when I removed the stitches, there was no holes. But when she did it, and by the way, if you don't know the trick, I'm going to do a video on it too, I think. If you don't know the trick for removing stitches, you get, let me see if I have one around here. You go to the Dollar Tree or Walmart or whatever, and you get cheapy razors. And then on the back of the item, you literally just shave it. And then when you turn it over, the stitches peel right off. It's the easiest way by far. You do have to have a gentle touch. You know, you can still put holes in it like she did, but anyway, all that to say, so I made her a little patch with just her first name. And then, and if you don't know how to do that, I'll link down below. I have a video showing how to make patches on your embroidery machine. And I could just take this over to my sewing machine and sew it on. It does, you know, you got to use a zipper foot and then you go close to the edges around, and that works just fine. And I'm a pretty experienced sewer, but even doing all those curves and stuff, it can kind of be a pain. She wouldn't care if it was kind of jaggedy, like whatever, just get the patch on there. But I'm going to show you, because I think it's just kind of fun to do it this way. I'm going to show you how we can do it on the actual embroidery machine. So even if you didn't even have a sewing machine, you could make patches on your embroidery machine and then sew them on using your embroidery machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hoop it onto an easy frame with some sticky stabilizer. If you've watched any of my videos, this is usually my preferred method for hooping anything. I could see that if you had a mighty hoop, this would be great. I do have a mighty hoop, but it's big, and I don't want to use that on this. We're going to just use a small little hoop that fits it nicely. So we're going to hoop that up, and then I'll show you what I do on the screen over here to make the stitch we're going to use. Okay, so I've got the jacket all hooped up. I wanted to point out I don't usually put pins when I'm using a sticky stabilizer, but this particular jacket has a lining on the inside. So those double layers can be tricky because things can shift. She also cut the lining to get her stitching off, which is not what I would have done, but that's what she did. So it's a kind of a hot mess back there. So I used some pins to keep everything in position. So here's what we're going to do. So I've got, this is the patch. Let me do this. Okay, so here's what it looked like. I've already deleted the name that was in there. I haven't deleted the satin stitches yet because we're going to use those. So if you purchased a patch, this is something you could probably do on Embrilliance or whatever embroidery software that you have, but I made this patch on the actual machine. This machine, and I think a lot of machines have, I'm not going to go back and show you, but because I want to keep this here, but it has built-in satin stitched shapes, and that's what I used to make my patch. So, so since I've kind of already done everything on the actual machine, I'm just going to keep it here. But if you can see, let me zoom in. So the yellow, it was our placement stitch. And then the black is the satin stitch that we used for the patch. And again, it used to have the name in the middle, but I've already deleted the name. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that placement stitch and we're going to make it smaller to fit inside the satin stitch. So I'll just resize it. And it's kind of hard to see on the screen, like you have to keep zooming in. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. I'm making it bigger. Let's make it smaller. So we want to get inside the satin stitches. So we can, every once in a while, just kind of check it. Okay, so that looks almost pretty perfect, right? So what that's going to do is stitch down that patch for us. It's a little off, oops, sorry. It's a little off. I might make it a little bit wider. Let's try that. Let's check it out now. I like that a little bit better. Okay, so now we can, you can either delete your satin stitches, or if you think you might need it later, we can just, oh, and you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to rotate it, because the way our jacket is hooped like that. So I rotated it like that. And then let's get our placement. So I gotta cover up her holes here. Let's see. Maybe there. I'm gonna come up a little bit. Okay, I had to turn the camera off to get it placed where I wanted it. So we got it placed where we wanted, and we're gonna close this out and go to sewing. And we don't want the satin stitch. My stitches were out of order. It should have been the placement stitch first anyway, but we'll go there. And yeah, that's what I wanted on. Okay, so we'll stitch it out without the patch. So this is just like a placement stitch. So it probably would have been smart to do that in maybe white or something, but whatever. So now all you have to do is take your patch and put it over those placement stitches. Now, probably what I'm gonna do here, I know that I've already measured this, and I know that the center of my design is right inside that loopy of the O. But you can also just kind of check it out like that. And the other thing that I've done on some of them is just move your laser pointer. So there we're kind of on the outside. There we're on the outside. So we're pretty even all around. I might just turn the camera off and make sure I've got it really centered. And then all you do is go back over here, hit sewing again, because now your design is done. And we're gonna fast forward again. Why am I so crooked? Fast forward again, and we're just gonna run that stitch again. And then that will sew down our patch. So let me get that centered and run that stitch. All right, so I just ran that stitch again, and I did it in a color that kind of matches the inside here. I wasn't perfect. I was nice and close here, so I was a little, you know, I should have scooted it this way a little bit. But again, she's, you know, nobody cares. It needs to stay sturdy, and nobody notices these things like you notice these things. So there it is, a nice patch. Let me take it off the hoop. All right, so there you have it. We've got the patch sewn onto the jacket, so she gets her name on her jacket without her maiden name and without those big gaping holes that she made. The only other thing I wanted to point out is something I could have done that I didn't do is you could spray a little adhesive on this and then place it. Again, because this is for a friend and she doesn't care and it's perfect in my eyes. I just kind of held it there and it stitched around. I could see that this would be great for putting patches on hats. What else? Jackets like this. I mean, anything. I don't know that I could do it on a Letterman jacket, which would be awesome if I could because those are hard. But I do those on my sewing machine. But anyway, there you go. Just a quick, easy way to put a patch onto something. If you found this video helpful at all, please hit this like button and subscribe. All the buttons, hit all the buttons. And I will see you soon. Thanks, bye.